G'day and welcome to the video. My name is Reed Sassenberg and I'm the founder of Married Ambition. What I do is I help guys who are currently on the edge of divorce, separation, or your wife has said that she doesn't love you or she wants space. I take guys from that exact position, and within 90 days, my job and what I try and do with every single client is to get her to say, I'm willing to work on things again. Once we get to that position, I'm very confident that the relationship can be saved. So that's what I do with guys. I do this through my Married Ambition program, which is all online. And also, we've got a community of currently 30 guys that are going through this exact process and are getting a lot of success. Some amazing turnarounds in the community, and very proud of this community and the work the guys are doing in there. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about how I help men prevent divorce, part 7, ending the pursuer and distancer cycle. So, today we're talking about one of the most destructive dynamics in struggling marriages, okay? The pursuer and distancer cycle. And this is where one partner starts chasing harder emotionally and the other starts pulling away emotionally. The more one person pursues the other in the relationship, the more the other distances themselves. So then the anxiety increases on the pursuer, which creates even more pursuit, more pressure, more conversations, more reassurance seeking, and more emotional intensity. And this really ties back to the principle of that if you're pressuring your wife in trying to fix this relationship, it will cause further damage every single time. The more pressure you apply, the more she will resist, the faster she will pull away. And what happens is, in her doing that, in that response of her pulling away, you feel more emotionally unsafe. You feel abandoned. She feels suffocated. So you can see how if someone's feeling suffocated, they want to get out of that situation. They want to get out of that position. And from your position where you feel abandoned, where everything's on the line here, you know, well, my kids, my assets, my livelihood, my everything I've built the last 10, 15, 20 years, okay? That's on the line. So you feel abandoned. You feel that urgency to fix this immediately, and she feels suffocated. So you've got to identify, okay, this ties back into the pressure video. You cannot keep applying pressure here. And you've got to get out of this cycle. So why does this matter? Most guys believe that chasing harder will save the relationship. It's the opposite. Give her space. Let her process things. There's a very specific process that she goes through, okay? And there's a time to strike. There's a time to start moving towards pursuing her in an attractive manner, not when you're operating from fear, urgency, anxiety about a certain outcome, okay? And emotional chasing will always communicate anxiety, fear, and emotional dependence, which is exactly what a woman does not want from her long-term sexual partner. He has to be centered in himself and independent. He cannot be codependent in the relationship. It will not work. Okay, so this is not emotional strength. This is what destroys the relationship from the woman's perspective. You need to create what's called polarity, and you do that through what's your standards. Who are you at the core of your being as a man? That's masculinity. You bring that into the relationship. She brings her femininity into the relationship where she wants to connect with you. She needs that safety, and that's required externally. The man derives this internally from himself. He doesn't seek it externally. Okay, so that emotional strength, that difference there is what creates the polarity. And your wife, okay, needs that from you. So if you're exhibiting behavior of pursuing her, constantly chasing her, constantly seeking reassurance from her, constantly seeking that validation, getting clarity about the situation, okay, she cannot emotionally relax around you, and she will feel pressured, she'll feel suffocated, and she will remove herself, especially if she's already emotionally overwhelmed, exhausted, and now she has to carry the weight of your emotions. This will do irreparable damage if you keep doing it. You have been warned. Stop doing this. Stop operating from that fear, from that frame of fear, which correlates into urgency, which correlates into her feeling pressured, and then she removes herself further. Okay. This cycle destroys attraction, respect, connection, everything. Emotional safety has already been destroyed, but just buries that even further, because emotional pressure has replaced the one thing you need to do, which is emotion. The one thing you need to do to provide in the relationship, in the environment, is emotional safety. And emotional pressure is the opposite. It creates suffocation, and it creates a lack of her. She has no freedom. She has no agency. So what do people do when their freedom is taken away from them? Generally, they're going to rebel. They're going to resist that, and they're going to move in the opposite direction. Okay, so that's why this matters. Now, what do you need to stop doing? When she creates that distance, sit with that discomfort. Don't react on it. You have to learn to, as a man, to become independent, and you have to be able to sit in emotional uncertainty and emotional in situations that are emotionally uncomfortable. Okay, you need to be able to sit in the distance that she creates. Okay, you need to comply with the management of the relationship from her end. That will build initial safety for her. Stop forcing emotional conversations when you do have interactions. Stop monitoring her every mood. That then determines your mood. Stop making your emotional stability dependent on her responses. Stop confusing your anxiety and your anxious pursuit of this outcome with love. It's not love. It's codependency wrapped up in nicety, which is bullshit. You need to fix your codependency first, and you need to become independent. This can save the relationship if you do that alone. The mistake most guys make, okay, if I just try harder emotionally, she'll finally see how much I care. She already knows you care. That's not the problem. The problem is her needs are not being met. And this is a big part of it. She doesn't feel emotionally safe. So do not confuse your intention or emotional intensity with emotional safety. That's the principle. Do not confuse your intention or emotional intensity with emotional safety. Chasing her will push her further away, especially if she said she wants separation, divorce, or she wants immediate space. Pushing her emotionally will drive her further away. That's what we need to stop doing. How do we implement this now? How do we implement basically emotional safety? How do we get her to start feeling better around us instead of feeling worse? Okay. And the key here is that you need to become emotionally grounded enough to tolerate space without collapsing emotionally. So you need to become emotionally grounded enough to tolerate the space without collapsing emotionally and then acting on that collapse. Give her space to process things. Whilst you're giving her that space, any interactions you have are light, they're easy, they're logistical, and they're moving towards the outcome of creating safety. That's what the strategy is, and you focus on rebuilding yourself. You build your routines, you strengthen your purpose, you develop your emotional resistance, your emotional intelligence, your emotional regulation. You know, you're training physically, you're getting in good shape. You like I said, you've got the strong structure and routines going. You're eating well, you're sleeping well. You've got to focus on yourself here first, especially immediate when you're in this immediate pressure environment of possible divorce, separation. It's a matter of really turning inward and fixing the problems here. So when you do interact with your wife, okay, we focus on calm, on having a positive experience, not emotional pursuit, not emotional baggage from the relationship, not emotional issues like where are we at, what's going on, seeking reassurance, seeking validation. And what you need to do, you need to be okay with the space that she creates. Do not punish the space. because that just is confirming her decision to want space. You do not become cold or passive aggressive or aggressive. You stay warm, you stay grounded, and you have to stay emotionally steady here. Your wife is not going to miss the pressure. She's only going to miss a calm, grounded presence. That's what you provide. So emotional reconnection begins when emotional chasing finally stops. Again, the process is you have to build emotional safety. You need to be consistent with creating that environment. She starts to trust that you can create this environment within the relationship. From there, she starts being open more. She starts giving you more opportunities. You start hanging out more. She starts talking to you more about her day. She starts reaching out more. From there, you start building the connection back. If you're consistent with your frame and your behavior and your mental models and the way you perceive things and the way you interpret things, then you can finally start building attraction. And then we move into when she says, hey, I like where things are going. I'm willing to give this another go. Now, the key points in the recap here of the pursuer and distancer cycle. Okay, the key point is that you are chasing her and she's feeling suffocated. She's going to withdraw. Her withdrawal is going to cause you to feel more anxiety. So you increase the chasing, you increase the pursuing for clarity around the relationship. But this only does one thing. It creates more issue for yourself, more anxiety, more fear, more urgency, and it creates more distance from her end. She wants out. She needs space. Give her that space. So if you continue to emotionally chase her, this is only communicating anxiety, pressure, fear, urgency, and this is not strength. This is not emotional strength. This is not conducive with the environment you're trying to create of emotional safety. Emotional pressure destroys the safety and attraction in the relationship. And it destroys any chance you have of reconciling down the line if you continue to operate and create that environment of pressure. Stop forcing conversations. Stop seeking reassurance. Stop monitoring her moods, her emotions, her responses. Learn to tolerate the space without emotionally collapsing, and then from that collapse, acting on that collapse. You cannot do that. If you do that, you will end the relationship. If you keep doing that consistently, she will end it with absolutely zero hope if you continue to do that. So you need to focus on calm presence, emotional stability, and self-growth. Reconnection often can recommence, can begin when you stop chasing. You build that foundation of safety. You identify the deep issues in the relationship. You stop doing those behaviors. She doesn't feel chased. She doesn't feel pressured. She starts opening up more. She tests the waters. You pass the tests. The connection starts to build. The openness starts to build. Attraction comes back into the picture. And she says, I want to reconcile. I'm thinking about, this is moving in the right direction. I'm willing to give this another chance. But you can't get to that point until you follow a process. If you want that process, I have this laid out for you, exactly what you need to be doing on a daily basis through my Married Ambition program, along with a community of guys who are doing the exact same thing as you. If this sounds like it's something that you'd like to do, book a call with me below. And we'll discuss on the call, your situation, if I think I can actually help you. And from there, if I think I can help you, I'll explain how the program works in more detail and the length of it and the costs involved. So the more a man emotionally pursues his wife when she has said she's done, she wants a divorce, she wants separation, she said, I need space. The more you emotionally pursue her in that situation, the more emotionally overwhelmed your wife is going to become. And what do emotionally overwhelmed people do? They remove themselves from the situation that's causing the emotional overwhelm. So to break that cycle, okay, you need to It requires from you emotional intelligence, emotional grounding, the ability to respond and not react and be a slave to your emotions. It requires self-control and allowing space without panic. The calmer and the more grounded presence you can bring into the relationship, the more safety and the more emotional pressure will be removed and the more safety will increase. How long do you have to do that for? That's the wrong question. You need to become a man on an identity-based level who operates from the frame of independence, which means you're accepting of outcomes, which means that you're outcome independent, which means that you've taken on an extreme ownership of the marriage situation and of yourself and of your life and where you currently are at. So, if you're in this exact situation where she's cold, she's distant, she's checked out, she said she wants separation, divorce, or space, take action here. Book the call, jump on the call, let's discuss your situation. If I can help you, I'll tell you how I'll do it.